All right, we are all set and ready to go. So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Factorio. I'm gonna click resume and let's get into it. So, last time we had set up just sort of the very basics of an early game factory. Like, there's very little here, but what is here is quite convenient to have. We've got some power poles, we've got some inserters, we've got some belts, and we've got a couple of random input parts as well. So, that is all good. Now, we need to just keep on going. There's still a lot of early game stuff that needs to be automated. So, underground belts and splitters are two things which are pretty important. So, we have to take iron plates, belts, and then some electric circuits. So we can actually do that here. That's convenient. I wonder if I did that intentionally or not. So you can just skip underneath all that stuff and then go over this way. Alright, so we do have a continuing iron plate shortage, which is not at all surprising. So we're probably going to have to do something about that at some point. But for now, we can just keep going. Alright. So, we have a assembly machine. And let's move this over a little bit so that we have space. And we can drag those along like that. So this can do underground belts and take in short splitters and long splitters. Then we just power it all up, and these need to be upgraded at some point, which means they need to go on a belt. And let's get iron chests on the hotbar since I use them frequently-ish. Speaking of things I use frequently-ish, let's grab some of those and make sure that that doesn't overfill, because that would be a whole lot of those. So that's filled up already. This is going, it doesn't need to go that crazy, it can stop soon. Then we can just go over here, get you powered up, and then fill those into the box. Okay, next step is the inserters, which I can just do here. Actually, I need a little bit of space. So we need to crunch this down to just 2 belts, which I can actually do relatively easily, as long as I'm fine this being the end of the iron belt for now. So if we wanted to do more, we would have to branch it off further up, but I think that's fine. So you go down there, you go down there, and then we can pop you in and get all set up. So we have you in, we have you, we finished fluid handling, that's nice. Let's see what else is there. I guess oil gathering should be the next thing, so that we can work on that. I believe chemical science is needed for electric furnaces or something like that. So let's try to get those as soon as possible. And then that is set up. And then we have to just set up this little situation over here and get them powered. And then only give us like 2 stacks of those. Alright, so that is more logistics done. So what do I have automated? I have all the belt stuff. I have regular inserters, but not long-handled inserters. And I have medium electric poles. So I need to get pipes going at some point, and I need to get some of this stuff automated. Like if I can get assembly machine 2s automated, that would save a lot of work, and also let me upgrade all of these things. So we need plates, gear wheels, and electronic circuits, then add on steel plates, and then that gives us assembly machine 2s. So plates are there, gear wheels are up there, electronic circuits are along here, steel plates are there. Alright, so we should be able to do that, not too terribly difficult. Let's get all these little exclamation points out of the way because they're annoying. There we go. Alright. So this is all set up. We need to get just the gear wheels down. Plates, gear wheels, electronic circuits. Plates are there, electronic circuits are there. Yes, we need to bring the gear wheels down to here, which is... it shouldn't be a bus, but it's sort of looking bus-shaped. So anyways, that is that. And if we weren't having a significant green circuit problem, we would have those as well. And that's just because of our iron plate shortage. So it all sort of comes back to here. So first of all, we can fit more iron ore on these belts. So that is the next thing to do. Apparently I need to grab some copper. I need electronic circuits for this. Well, we have a couple just on a belt here, which I can steal. And that will let me make some more of those. And then we can fit them all into this. Okay, so this setup doesn't need to be like it is. We can rotate those guys around as well. And then connect all this stuff up. Like, I don't know, something like that. It's not perfect, but it's something. And then we can fit in a couple more electric miners just up this row there. And get them powered. And then get them outputting. Can I just grab some of these belts since they're right here? Alright, we're officially... that box is empty. So that's fun. And then we can fit some more in down this way. So I guess just the one more is going to fit on that. Yikes. Alright, so this side of the belt looks saturated, and then this side doesn't. So we're going to need to do something about that if we want to get this to be a completely filled belt. And the easiest way would just be to make this not work in quite the way that it does, so that we can get both of them outputting onto both sides evenly. Well, I mean, one thing we can do just quickly is rotate you guys around. Wait, this doesn't do anything, right? Because they're just going to output on the other side of that belt and be the same. Alright, well, we can just leave it like this. That should be enough iron ore. If that isn't enough iron ore, it'll be super annoying. Alright, it looks like these are all approximately going. There's some slight delays, but that might just be... I'm not sure if that's because we're actually short on ore input, or it's just because the belt hasn't quite filled up yet. Could be either. But either way, iron output is looking a lot better. And these guys are now struggling to output all of their iron. So we can fix that with a weird little scheme. So if we just do... How did I do this? So if we do like that, and then like that. There we go. Okay, now that will put iron ore on iron plates on both sides of this belt, which is fine, because we had accounted for that being how it works. Also, it looks like this is... Okay, wait, no. So these gear wheels are going on the wrong side. So we need to get them... So we need to get the... We need to get this pointing the other direction. So we have like that, I think. And then, no, not like that. There's got to be an easier way of doing this. So you go like that. You go like that. And now the green circuits and the gear wheels are sharing a belt. And they're both getting all the way through. Alright. I'm pretty sure we need more green circuits. So I limited these, right? I did. This one's already filled. Love to see it. Alright. So the green circuit supply is probably not enough. So we can just tack another one on there and double that. So you get that, and then, gosh, will this work? So you need 2 belts. So that has to go out, come over. No, I think this is not quite enough space. So that's fine. We can move it over here a little bit. And then do that. So we have inputs from the near side and outputs to the far side. And then we need to get these wires over like that and power it up. Then we copy paste settings across, and we have a second green circuit production. Just a little bit scuffed because of this other random belt which is running through this exact area. But it's fine. With 2 green circuit production machines, we should be good to go there, and we're probably just going to have wire problems now. So let's get some of those in. I need to just craft up a couple of these. Alright, so as far as wire goes, these are 2 each. These can take up to 3 each. So having 3 of these would theoretically be enough wire production, assuming we don't have copper shortages, which we probably will. So let's get the power on, and there we go. So that should provide enough wire to keep both of these going. And it just has to take a little bit to get across the belts. Alright, these look like they're going fine, and they're not like overfilling the outputs or anything, so that's cool. Alright, yeah, so now the wire is backing up, and this is good to go. We need faster inserters for some of these, I think, already. Did we ever unlock those? We did. It should be fine. I mean, this is 2 green circuits per second, which isn't enough to satisfy this, but it should be filled pretty quick because of how fast that production goes. So we should be okay there. Then we have, what were we doing? We were going to be doing this. Plates, gear wheels, electronic circuits. So that can just go up here. And we get you and you. And power you up. You make assembly machines, you make more of yourself. Congratulations. Then you output onto a belt, which you're going to power up. We don't need to put these into a box because we're just going to skip straight to assembly machine 2s, which is gear wheels, electronic circuits, and steel plates. So we take that belt, and this belt over here. Alright, so this belt can come down, and it's pretty nice just having underground belts now and having them automated so I don't need to worry about it. You can just use them as needed. So you go up to here, and then yeah, the spaghetti is definitely starting to show up in serious quantities. But it's fine. This is all temporary. I don't know how long exactly this is going to last for. Certainly when we get drones, it'll be reworked. And then I don't know about if we will end up even reworking it before then. We probably will. Alright, so we get those, and we get those. And we power them up. Alright, and then this just needs an output, which this one can just output directly to a box, because I think by the time we get assembly machine 3s, we'll have seriously be reworked this for ages by then. Alright, so that is all good. And now we're mostly just waiting on green circuits. This gets priority on the green circuit production. So this only gets to do that every once in a while. And then this one is probably just doomed in terms of ever getting its green circuits. Also, I need to actually grab a stack of those for myself. Alright, so this is all going. Somehow we're up to 58% research, which I would have expected that would have completely deactivated by now. Alright, if we look over here on the iron, the one side of the belt is completely saturated all the way across, the other side isn't. Which means this is a pretty decent setup. Yeah, okay, sure. So yeah, this is a pretty decent setup. I could probably organize this better so that the two halves are distributed more evenly. And there's got to be a less cumbersome way of doing this, of controlling which side the belts are on, but I don't know it. So at some point, I mean, I think you can do it with splitters, which I have now, so that's an option. Renegade, hello. We are working along. We are currently producing assembly machine 2s, and just waiting for the green circuits to get done, which unfortunately is sort of at the end of the belt of green circuits. So we're going to be making all of these first. I don't think I need to store 2 stacks of you. So this is going and building up. This has a couple of assembly machines in it, and we're just waiting on green circuits. I'll just feed you some, just so we can get a couple of these. Alright, cool. We have some of those. Now, we can run back and upgrade our green circuit production to be faster. And now it's definitely... we definitely need more inserter-related things. So we need fast inserters, which need freaking green circuits again. Wonderful. Are there any green circuits over here lying around that I can steal? No, I stole all of them already. That's unfortunate. Alright, and yeah, it looks like research over here has stopped because we haven't been feeding these smelters and everything. Which is fine. Power is still pretty comfortable. So that's nice. Iron plate supply looks solid still. Steel plate supply looks good. Copper plate supply looks good. Alright, I think all that is going well. We just have to get more of this stuff through. Can I just, like, put additional inserters on? That'll make that go twice as fast, right? So that'll help a little bit. And, yeah, we're just very much just bottlenecked by the green circuits at this point, which are probably also going to be bottlenecked by wire eventually, now that we have two inserters doing that. So that's going to be a thing that we have to fix. Underground belts are full. Splitters are halfway there. And this is starting to get some green circuits through. Yeah, look at that. We've got 4 of these. Alright, so we can then run back here and make the wires go faster. So that will help that out. And they're output full now. So the inserter is just going as fast as it can, and it's not enough, I think. So let's double those up again. And get our wire production going as fast as possible. Alright, somehow this is all going despite this not being fully saturated yet, which is nice. I guess these slow inserters are actually coming in handy there, because this isn't yoinking every single green circuit that comes along. Alright, I guess we can just start placing these in now. No sense having all these unupgraded things around when we can upgrade them pretty easily at this point. Just have to get everything upgraded. Power lines get upgraded. The rest of those gears get upgraded. And then we just have like one more to do there, and then we can just use them for the new production. Alright, so there we go. Run over here, place this one in. Alright, I believe, unless I've missed one, that is everything upgraded to Assembly Machine Mark IIs, which we will be sticking with for probably quite some time. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is we need to get science back up and running. So that is, if I remember correctly, belts and inserters for green science, and copper plates and gear wheels for red science. Alright, so we have our inserters up here. We need to automate long-handled inserters and fast inserters as well, which is going to be another process, but for now I want to get science going. So let's get that off the hotbar, put you guys in the hotbar instead. So, belts are down here, inserters are up there. Kind of inconvenient locations, but we can get them around. So, first of all, let's split the belts off. And then I guess just wrap them around like that. And then have that go along. Chop down some trees, because we need the space. Alright, no point having underground belts for that. Now we can run those up to be on the same belt. And now we can start making green science with this belt. As soon as we chop even more trees. Alright, let's get like 2 of these down. And then power them up. You get to do green science, and you get to do green science. And then they get to output onto another belt, which is really going up into these trees at this point. Can't wait until I have some way of conveniently removing trees. Alright, so that's green science set up. We obviously need to have red science as well for that to do us any good. So we have gear wheels here, we have copper plates there. And I need belts just to build with real quick. Let's grab another couple stacks of those. Alright, so it would make more sense to have the copper plates go up there, because that's where the rest of the science is. So let's get that going. You need to go over this way and do another little bit of a zigzag, and then under there, and then under there. Okay, not like that, not like that. You get off that belt. Thank you. So we need you to go across that so that you don't mess with other things, like so. But now we have our copper plates right next to our gear wheels, and we can set that up. As soon as we get all of these stupid trees out of the way. There we go. Let's branch off the gear wheels up here just for the sake of doing it, and then send those into a single belt. Alright, then we have to hop on over here and grab some more of these guys. Up to 19 of them. That should last us quite a while. Alright, of course we have to get rid of another tree. And then we get power poles. Alright, what's the speed on this? That's 0.15 each. These are 0.12 each. So we do need 2 of these. There and there. And then we get all that powered up. And chop down even more trees. I cannot wait until I have grenades automated so that I can do this a little more conveniently. And then even that is not exactly ideal. Alright, that belt wasn't meant to go there. That belt was meant to go up there. Alright, then we get you all powered up. And that is red science. So you come along this way, and let's just get you on the same belt as the green science, because that'll be convenient. So you need to be on the other side of the belt for that to work out nicely. So we just do a quick little thing like that. And there we go. Now we have a belt with both types of science on. We can just... No need to make more labs, I think. Let's just run over here and grab some of these ones. We had these 3 labs. They can all go out. Since we're not using that setup anymore, might as well also grab this one down here in case we need 4 labs worth. And then we run all the way back up. Alright, so this all goes away. And the labs go in. This stupid forest, man. Why can't it just have drones so that I can just overwrite things and not worry about it? Alright, so then these get spaced in a sort of a grid so that we can have inserters transfer between them. And there's so many trees. Alright, there we go. So now you go like that, and you all just sort of go like that, and you all get powered on. And there we go. So that is now going. We really need to get our inserters improved. So we need fast inserters and we need long inserters automated. So that's plates, gear wheels, and inserters. That's plates, electronic circuits, and inserters. So if we get the inserters just down to here, we'll have everything we need. So let's expand this line out a little bit. And we can just bring the inserters along this way. And then they can go down to here. Actually, wait. No, we don't want that. I think we need these to be on opposite sides of the belt for spacing reasons. Alright, so let's have you make long-handled inserters. So you take inserters, gear wheels, and plates, and you all get powered on. Then you can output to a box. Let's make some boxes. There we go. We don't need these to go into any further production lines, so just straight into a box. No need for a belt or anything. Then we have another one, which is going to be doing fast inserters, which is just going to be the same belt setup. So we get some off of you. You can get moved down like that. You grab from that belt, and then we put the inserters in, and then you can just output to another box, which we want to have just a few spots in it. So there we go, that's all set up. Now I think we can just clear those out. This is technically more power, right? Yeah, it's technically more power, but I don't think that matters at all. Alright, it doesn't look like this actually needs them. So we should go down to where they are probably necessary, which is down here. Oh wait, speaking of power, something that we've done, probably just upgrading all of the machines, honestly, has messed with the power grid again. So let's craft up a boiler. And I need more iron plates. Where is my iron plate stash? It's this wooden box over here. Give me some of those. So it's a boiler plus 2 steam engines, right, for each one. So let's get just a couple of those queued up. The coal supply looks like it's going just fine. Alright, so we need this to extend along this way so that this is where the coal goes, so that we can have that, all this space for more boilers setups. So now we tear all this stuff out and prepare for the boilers. Now, we need some space between them, I think, in order to get the power poles in. So first of all, we need to do that so that those power poles aren't in the way. And then we can continue doing these in their sort of batches of 2. Can I get another batch of those guys queued up? So if we just do like that, and then pop in the double steam engines, we should be in. Okay, so we just get the water across to there. I'll deal with that in a second. And then we get the input belts up there. Alright, YouTube is back. Don't know what that was about. Probably nothing serious. Alright, so now we have even more power, even more coal consumption. And yeah, there's that tiny little spike when I had to disconnect things, but now we're up to 10.8 megawatts of production. Should be more than we need. And we can just keep on researching. And I guess we're going to need to actually go out and find some oil in order to get oil processing. So in the meantime, we can queue up logistics 2, because that's just always going to be helpful. And then oil, there's some down there. And that's about it. And there were some biters in the way. Okay, we'll probably have to deal with that in a moment, because I don't want to put off oil production too much. In the meantime, what else do we have left to do? I want to have just sort of all the basics automated and going well. So green circuits are still item ingredient limited, so we can make some fast inserters there and just grab some of these guys and put them on the hotbar, because this is what we're mostly going to be using for most of the game. Then we have these guys to worry about. You can get a fast inserter each. And that looks like it might be almost a full belt of copper wire going out, which is... it definitely shouldn't be. This should be like 9. This should be able to carry 15. Although that's probably 15 using both sides, which it definitely isn't. Okay. So, I never gave this setting. So let's pop that in. These two are going fine. The inserter production is doing its thing. It's 1.5 per second, which should be... okay, it's not enough to fully satisfy all of these, but they should be almost entirely filled. Okay, the gear wheels are having shortages now, which is crazy considering I have 4 of them. But I guess sometimes that's how it is. We need fast inserters on these so that they can pull enough plates. There we go. And farewell to me having enough iron plates. And then the outputs probably also need extra speed. There we go. So now those are going. And yeah, it's just with everything running, basically all of it needs gear wheels. Like, there's just a huge line of things which needs gear wheels, so it's not that surprising that we're having problems with that. But eventually, most of these should saturate and stop going. Like, this isn't running anymore. Probably these ones will fill up soon-ish. And it does look like we have re-established enough gear wheel supply to keep everything more or less happy. And that's going. Alright. So back to checking this list. We haven't automated pipes yet. And we should probably get on that because it's pretty simple and we're going to need it soon. And then over here, we have assembly machines. We don't have steel furnaces automated, which we might not need in huge numbers at the moment, but would be nice to have. And we go over here. We've got both types of science going. All right, so the other thing we need to set up and automate is military stuff. So we need just probably piercing round magazines are overkill at this point. We just need firearm magazines and grenades and maybe gun turrets. Yeah, so let's get that. So firearm magazines are easy because they're just regular old iron. So we get one of you, get you powered up. And you are going to... Geez, there's a whole lot of barreling recipes, huh? Okay, you get to do that. And we're definitely going to want you on a belt at some point. So you get to output onto a belt. And then that belt can just feed into a box like this, which we only need a couple slots of. Okay. So that we have that. Next up, iron plates, copper plates, and gear wheels. It is sort of an annoyingly large number of different things. Iron plates are there, copper plates are there, gear wheels are here. We might be able to sneak it in this general area if we branch the iron plates out. Yeah, okay, so what we can do is we get one of you. You need to go a pretty specific angle to get out of here. So you go like that. And then you can go over like that. Then we need to get both of these just out of the science vicinity. That's too far, because of course it is, so we're going to be doing this, which I really don't like doing, but there we go. So that goes out there. This goes all the way over here. Chop down a tree. Chop down another tree. Yeah, so you can't quite get underneath both of those green science producers. Which means you need to go up and then over this way through another tree, because there's always a tree. And now we're over here. And we should be able to set this up. This is actually correctly spaced, so that's nice. So you two go like that. Get your power pole and get your recipe. And then you can just output to a box, because we do not need you for anything else. And that box only needs, like, actually, how much do these stack to? Does it say? Stack size 50? Yeah, we don't need more than 50 of those on hand at any given time. Alright, so this is short on iron plates, which is completely reasonable considering we've just added a whole bunch of iron plate demand on. And is all of this going? Yeah, this whole thing is going. So I think two things. First of all, we need to move that whole combination over a little bit. So over to like here. And now we have to see if I can remember how to even do it. It's something like this. You go there, you go into there. Yeah, so we have that. And then we can put on another couple of these, and that's about as far as we can go. So we bring the iron ore over, we bring the coal. And now for our inserters. We can just use these. So you all get your inserters. And then you all get your outputs. Then you all get your coal inputs. So there, 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 and there. And then we get power poles in. Like that. And that is all set up and producing even more iron plates. So hopefully that will push the constant demand back a little bit and keep this going. Although this does just take an absolute massive amount of plates to do, but it also is not gonna run forever, so we should be getting there eventually. Let's grab another stack of power poles, because those are running low. Doing pretty well on everything else that we have automated. And let's just manual craft up a couple more boxes. That belt there doesn't need to exist, so let's remove it. Alright. Next thing we need is going to be the pipe related stuff. So let's get this belt going over, and we need an assembly machine here, another assembly machine here, so that we can make both regular pipes and underground pipes. Let's chop all that stuff down. So you get inputs, and you are going to be making just regular old pipes. The other one can honestly just make the underground pipes. So there we go, there you go. Then you output to a box. Of course there's a tree in the way, why wouldn't there be? And then we can grab spare pipes, put them in a box. Alright, so this... Oh, I need to put the output on right there. And then this only needs to go up to like 2 stacks. I don't need that many. This only needs to go up to like 1 stack, because I need very small numbers of those. And then we could do pumps. They require engines, which are steel plates, iron gear wheels, and pipes. Are those the only thing currently that requires engines? Yeah, probably. Alright, we're gonna just do manual crafting of pumps for a little bit. Although it's weird that it doesn't count the engines as raw resources for us to manual craft. There's nothing in there that we can't do, right? I guess you just have to. So steel plates, gear wheels, and pipes. Alright, so steel plates are there, gear wheels are there, pipes are there. Step 1, get the steel plates out. Step 2, bring the gear wheels forwards. And... oh, hang on. We're under attack up at the stone. We do have a turret up there. Wait, I ran way too far. This is like directly north of us now. We've gone pretty far west. Alright, so the turret held out. took an insane amount of damage. But it did hold out. So that's nice. And we don't have... Oh boy. Speaking of the turret being attacked, just got attacked again. Alright, did I run all the way up here without a gun turret in my inventory? Yes, so I'm gonna have to automatically craft some of those. Okay. So, turrets. We can build a new one, give it some ammo, and then can we build a couple of repair packs as well? Yes, and it'll take most of a repair pack, but that is now up and running again. Alright, so if I remember correctly, you can like make walls out of pipes if you need to, but I have all this stone. What is even going all the way down here for? Nothing at the current moment. Alright, so that's fine. We can make some stone bricks up here. Oh, speaking of needing to make things, we need more coal. So let's make a second electric mining drill. So we should be able to get this going much better. Alright, this situation is a bit weird. Just how this is all laid out is not how I would willingly do it. Looks like the biters have destroyed something. That's not good. What did they get? Oh, they're attacking from the south now. That's an exciting new direction. Alright, down we go. Yeah, we cannot have that. We need to get that coal belt repaired before the power all dies. And then we need to set up our defenses. Fortunately, we had just automated turrets and ammo. So we can go up here, grab just an insane amount of you, grab a bunch of you, and actually I think you need to store more because we want to be putting full stacks in like all of our boxes all the time. Alright, so we get turrets onto the hotbar, and you get like half a stack of ammo, so that should be that general area covered. And then we need like a good solid defensive setup with multiple turrets to cover from different angles of our power, because this is both vital and pretty far away. So these ones up here, I'm less expecting to get attacked from that angle, so they can get like 24 each. Then these ones down here, we can give them like 50 each. Alright, that should be secure-ish for now while we don't have walls. So we can go back to setting those up as well. So we just need to clear out some of this space. Or if only I had grenades automated, I could do a lot better with this. Alright, I don't have any steel furnaces. I need to grab some stone brick, which I do have a box of up here, which is probably... yeah, it's got plenty. So we're just going to grab some of those and queue up some furnaces. Alright, the coal. Did we... so we had these placed, but we didn't have them powered. So you can get power. And we need more resources to build more. which we're definitely going to want to do because we cannot be running out of coal. That would be an absolute catastrophe. Alright, so we have a belt going in to this direction, and that is our stone brick output. We have a belt coming in from that direction. That is our stone input. Then we have a batch of a couple of furnaces, like so, and then we split the coal off to there. Alright, so you all get inserters, which then get powered up. And then you get inserters on this side for the stone, and then output on this side for that. Now we have to connect all of that stuff up to the power lines. And finally get our stone across this little situation. So you have to just go like that, and that is stone going into the furnaces. So then the rest of the stone can go across that into a box, which is only going to store a couple. And then we need to make some walls, which I believe walls are just stone bricks. So that should be easy, and then that outputs into a box. Alright, so that's that. Stone bricks improve walking speed too, right? I don't think I've ever built stone brick floors in the past, but I guess I could do that. I mean, it's not like I'm short on them. Alright, so this box we want to be relatively... Actually, when you need walls, you need a huge number of walls, so let's get that up to like 4. And this coal has me worried. So it looks like it is either backing up or running out, and I'm not sure which. Alright, regardless, it's not... If it is backing up, it's not backing up fast enough for me to be comfortable with it. So let's get some electric mining drills, which... Let's just automate those real quick. It's just plates, gear wheels, and circuits, which we should be able to just pop down you. You get your plates, you get your gear wheels and your circuits, and then you output to a box. So then that whole thing gets powered up and told to make electric mining drills, which we only need like a stack of. So that's that. The northern bit is being attacked, so I want to go and grab some walls to do that. This apparently hasn't successfully made a single wall. Oh, our stone output is actually hilariously slow. I guess it's just like one electric miner. Alright, fortunately, we have these guys crafting now. So I can grab 4 of those and then bring them up. Alright, here we are. Oh, it's even worse than that. It's one electric miner feeding into a whole indirect setup. Ooh. Fighters are attacking here, and these defenses are all raggedy. So we'll get walls in a second. For now, we're just going to repair you guys up. And then... What is that? Oh, that's the power pole for these guys. Alright, so let's get a good couple of these guys all feeding the stone supply. And then get them all powered up. So that should be all clear. Can I just yoink all of that and put it on my hotbar and then just start making some paths? That would definitely be convenient. Alright, so this... Let's get these trees out of the way to make this path work. Alright, so that is something of a path. And we can just drag more of this around various places. Just try to have this whole thing a little bit pathed. Not super serious about it, but just a little bit. And then obviously this will be our main stone supply going forwards. And it's almost full. Alright, let's just drag paths everywhere around here. And it would be really nice if this started making walls anytime soon so that we could get that northern bit defended a little bit. But it looks like this is only enough to feed like 2 of these furnaces. Alright, well let's bring some miners up and we can expand up the coal while we're at it. Alright, we have 26 of them now, 28 actually, because I had 2 left over. So that should be plenty, and we also have a nice little shortcut, and we finished logistics 2. So let's queue up railway, because that will be quite useful. Alright, so we get more of these guys in, and we're going to move the turrets up north. It's kind of spooky not having them down at the moment. Okay, help. Where's my ammo? There. One of them is firing at least. Alright, there. I didn't think about grabbing more ammo for these. Alright, so you are now very, very temporarily set up as defenses. There's almost no ammo in them. We're going to need to restock ASAP. But at least in the short term, that should be fine, and we can get our increased stone production going. I forgot about my convenient path, and instead just sort of ran through the woods. Alright, let's grab all of that ammo and just bring it up there as fast as possible. Alright, so you all get that, and then you can also be repaired. There we go. Alright, next stop is upgrading our coal, because we apparently do not have a great amount of coal production, because it's not backlogged. So that all goes like that. You go down there. You can't go anywhere because I ran out of belts. That turret is no longer in an exactly ideal position, but it'll work itself out. We have walls now, so that's nice. I was coming down here to get belts primarily. So let's grab a couple hundred of those. Grab some of those walls. And I think this needs to have a path by it so that I can get up to the coal nice and fast. And there we go. Alright, so the coal should definitely be filled up now. Looks like the stone production is going smoothly. And we have the start of walls. So what do I want to... Let's see here. I need to get space on the hotbar. So I guess that's for bar 2. And then let's make a path over here as well for when I want to go between those two. Alright, congratulations. You get a wall. It's not the world's fanciest wall, and it's not exactly going to protect from unexpected directions, but now we should be pretty clear. And honestly, you are literally right there. Can I just run forwards a little bit? Alright, how much ammo do I have? I have like 200. That's got to be plenty. Alright, there. And take the ammo. And I will then help out. Alright, we need to dismantle you because you're about to die. But that nest, which is right on our borders, is now dealt with. And let's get rid of this worm as well, just so that it can go away. Alright, we should be much safer from that angle now. No longer just continual attacks. And then this box of stone, I guess, is just going to slowly drain. Alright, stone supply looks very solid, as does coal supply. At least for the state of the game that we're in. Obviously it's not a full belt, but it's pretty good. Then we have our walls, which are filling up. I don't even know where else we're getting attacked from at the moment, now that we've dealt with that one. This nest down here is probably going to cause like the occasional problem. And it is right by my power. So let's grab the walls and bring a path down to the power setup. So down we go. And yes, this place is indeed under attack. And now it is significantly more secure. Alright, so that wall by the coast there shouldn't be necessary. And this wall only has to go high enough up to just prevent it from being flanked, which shouldn't be an issue. Alright, that should be fine. I might add just a third turret. I'm not exactly low on turrets, so I might as well just throw a third turret in just to provide overlapping fire so that we can have 2 turrets shooting at whatever is attacking. And then this belt got like randomly hit by biters attacking up here, which I don't know why they even did that, but it hasn't been hit since. And it does have a turret now, so this should be fine. It's just plopping these guys down in random places to have good coverage is totally reasonable. Like now they can't weirdly get in and chew on these belts without getting shot at. And then this one is covering that area, and I think we should be fine now. At least as far as immediate attacks go. Obviously this is in no way sufficient for like once they start really going crazy. But they still haven't really done that. The biters are still pretty chill, all things considered. So we did unlock fast transport belts, which are just the regular transport belts, but fast. And did I leave myself a relatively easy route to upgrades? We have gear wheels and transport belts, which is pretty easy here. We have gear wheels and underground belts, which shouldn't be terribly difficult. And we have gear wheels, circuits, and splitters. So yeah, this is all stuff that's sort of in the same general vicinity anyways. So let's get those upgrades cooking. No point in not doing the new fancy belts. Now, grenades are another thing which I should probably automate at some point, but that will be for a little bit later. So first we get this. You and red belts. Get powered up. And we're not upgrading to blue belts anytime soon. So we can just have that go into a box. I need more iron plates for personal crafting. Where are you? Over here. So let's grab some of those and craft up another batch of boxes. Alright, so this is our first set of red belts. And next up, we have these and those. So next up is underground belts, which are gear wheels and underground belts. So in order to get... we're just going to have to bring these belts over to there. But we finished railway research. That's pretty cool. And let's see, what else do we really need? Solar power gets me a lot of personal stuff. I'm trying to make my way towards the electric furnaces, which I think are down here past blue science. Yeah, they are. So if we're trying to get down there, we need to do oil processing. And actually, what else? Yeah, so we just simply need to do oil processing next, which means that for our research, we can just throw in some projectile damage or something. Just so that in the meantime, we have something going on. Alright, so we need to bring both of these over. No sense having them on two separate belts. You can just combine them up like that. So now this can go over this way. And I think we went under a belt somewhere that I didn't really want to, but that's fine. So now we're in this general area. We get another one of you, and just that same setup, repeated twice more. Get rid of another random little tree, and get rid of all these trees. Alright, all those trees are out of the way. So now we can set you up fast underground belts, and then we get another one of you set up to be fast splitters. And there we go. So the fast underground belts needs gear wheels and underground belts. So this goes along like that. That gets an input. This gets an input. And then that all gets powered up. And we just need like 2 stacks of those. Then this one needs splitters and gear wheels and circuits. So basically the same thing. You get like that. And then is there somewhere where we can get all those powered on with one power pole? Looks like no. So we just do that and then limit you down to a single box. And that is faster belts. Not that I think we super extremely are in desperate need of them at the moment. Because it looks like most everything is saturated and just waiting on production to be slow. So that's fine. We want to leave these boxes around for just a little bit until we have significant reserves of these. Once we have enough of these, obviously, then we're never going to use the first couple belts again, but for now it's cheaper to use the smaller belts. Alright, so this is good. We have the basic train stuff ready, but I don't think we have automation for it yet. Alright, the next thing we need to be doing then is if we want to continue on progressing, we need to get down there to get some crude oil, which is the sort of thing that I would love to do a train for, but it's not that far away really. It's pretty far away, but you know. I have pipe up here. Let's grab that, because we're about to start using it. So we have those. Then we need at least one pump jack, which means green circuits are necessary. And let's get a couple of them, because I do want to just get as much out of this as we can. So let's craft up a whole bunch of pump jacks. And those can just be going in the background. Then did that use up all of my pipes? No, it didn't. We still have 100 and some. Okay. So this next bit is gonna be a bit of a journey. So I guess we want to have the pipe go all the way up to this general area so that we don't have to run halfway across the planet to do our oil. Okay, what? Just a gun turret got hit, that's fine. So we're gonna have to run a really long pipe, and I doubt we actually have the pipes to do this. And let's set this up on a hotbar so that we can do it more conveniently. Alright, so this pipe has to go all the way down here. Go underneath all this stuff. Don't know why I did that wrong. And then we need to get it through this forest. And we're already running low on pipe building materials. So let's head back up and grab some more. Also, we're going to need ammo to set up defenses down there, because I am not going to run all the way down there as soon as it gets attacked. So let's grab a couple stacks of that so we don't have to refill it that often. Our pipe supply is probably... Okay, we can grab another 200. This is going to be a bit of a process. We also need to bring power along with us. So that's another thing to not forget. So power line goes out here. And I guess we can even just do that first. So there is a biter nest in the area, which means that I need to have a fallback plan. How far out can I scroll? Pretty far. So we have these guys, and they are each gonna have a bit of ammo. So now if things go wrong up ahead, can I put you on the hotbar? Thank you. Alright, so that should be good. I need to get rid of this biter nest, I think, which is gonna be a bit dicey. Alright, so we've aggroed the biters. Unsurprising. So they're cleared out now. And I just need you to be ready to go. Alright, then hopefully... Oh, okay. There's a whole lot more of them. I was hoping I could sneak up and just place a turret without drawing aggro while the gun was keeping them busy, and that didn't work at all. Yeah. Alright. That's gonna be a bit tough. You need more ammo. There you go. And, alright, that did not work out well at all. Meanwhile, it looks like we got attacked simultaneously from the north, and now we have to run up there so that we don't lose everything. Alright, mission failed. We'll get him next time. So up we go. Take these nice paths that we built. And... Alright. It looks like we got through the biters eventually, but we definitely need these guys to be more secure, which first of all means another one of you. So now we have 4 turrets in the area. And second of all, this wall needs to be double thick and probably go a bit further down as well. Alright, that should be clear from that angle. Looks like we didn't lose all that much. So now we have to head back here. Stock up even more on pipes because we're going to need a bunch of those. We're also going to need a bunch of ammo. So let's grab all of that. And our iron plates supplies are currently struggling, probably because of all the stuff that I've been asking it to build. Which means that ammo resupplies are not super trivial to get. And I need more copper plates for repair packs, which I don't want to be spamming in combat, but I might have to. And then there's one more thing, which... coal and iron plates. You can make grenades just like basically in here. Just this random little corner. There we go. So we get those, we make our grenades, and we put them in a box. Of course, that's just barely out of range for power. So that will be a thing that we can start dealing with soon. We now have a grenade. We have one grenade. If we need to use it, we're probably not going to have enough grenades to actually do anything meaningful. Alright, now that we're back to this, we can just keep on... get this pipe through this little tree line. It is eventually going to need to come all the way over to the oil patch. Alright, so now we're here, and we have these guys to worry about. And those guys are doing something suspicious, it looks like. Alright, so you exist now, you get some ammo. So that has pushed us a little bit closer. Then... yeah, I mean, there are kind of a lot of them. I'm not sure that this is even going to be secure enough with only just the one, so let's have 2 there in that row. And then put you in, give you ammo, and then take the ammo back because that's no good. Pop you in, give you ammo. Get another one give you some ammo. And now we're in range of their base. And we're getting through it pretty quick. So they are retaliating. Get rid of that guy. We lost one of the turrets. And now you get to just go in and finish off the job. Physical projectile damage increased. Great timing. Let's do automated rail transportation, because that is going to be helpful. Alright, biter nest cleared. It's like 1,000 times more sketchy with gun turrets than with laser turrets, because they aren't active the moment you place them. Like, you have to place them, draw aggro, and then real quick put ammo in to actually have them defend themselves. So yeah, getting to laser turrets pretty quick would be quite nice if we can manage it. We only lost one turret though, and like half a stack of ammo, I think, got destroyed with that turret, so it's not that bad. Alright, so now we are in the approximate vicinity. We have our pump jacks, which go there. And of course there's a tree in the way. Why wouldn't there be? There's always a tree in the way of everything you ever want to do. Alright, there we go. Then we get another one of you, and you, and you. Alright, so now if we just connect you up to power, we should get the oil processing technology unlocked. So that's cool. And then we have to get the rest of these attached up. Alright, so that is power-wise done. We're not missing any of those. So now we just have to get the oil out and bring it over to that pipe that we had set up. We have 300 pipes. Will that be enough? And also, why is this just like the worst possible terrain? Like, you actually could not envision more annoying terrain. Okay, there could be cliffs. There could be cliffs, and that would be more annoying. But as far as terrain that doesn't involve cliffs, where you have to build an oil patch, this is about as bad as it gets. Alright, so they're all hooked up now. And now we just run our pipe back. Oh wait, before we do that, let's get some turrets over here. So we are just going to have sort of a four corners approach, like that. And then you each can get like 50 ammo. And then we can even give the turrets a little bit of wall to defend themselves with. Although we don't have that much. And these pipes are getting in my way, as they tend to do. Alright, so that is all that. I need to throw that ammo into my own gun. Alright, so we can just do very basic walls like that, so that if they want to get in to the turrets, they'll have to do a little bit more work than just walking up to them. And that's a tree in the way, because of course it is. And that's a rock in the way, which should, honestly, like, those trees and rocks should cause problems for the biters too. So it's slightly less optimal, but it's mostly fine. Alright, so those defenses should hold anyways. I'm not expecting massive attacks since I don't see any biter nests in the area. So we just have to bring this pipe all the way over until we connect up with the other half of it. There we go. Pipeline extent 207 out of 320. So that's fine then. That means that we are all good. We have a functional pipeline bringing oil all the way back to the base. And now we just gotta do something with it, I guess. Alright. So what do you even do with oil in the early game? You can make solid fuel, I guess. That's the only thing. Alright. Automated rail transportation is going. Is there a delay, or is it just going as fast as it can? I think we just need more science labs. It seems like that's the bottleneck, because the science pack belts seem quite full. So let's expand science, because we are sort of waiting on like a couple researches. And we've got one of those. We need more stuff to get more of them queued up. We grab green circuits, that'll help a little bit. And then we just go back to iron plates. There we go. And let's queue up a couple more of them. Alright, so now we can just we can expand this up a pretty good distance up this way, and then we're just going to continue having it be these sort of two rows, which just go like that and like that. I'm apparently entirely out of power lines. I can't believe I had exactly the right amount for that gigantic trip. That's kind of crazy. Anyways, get power lines, bring them back up here. That should be enough to get that whole thing going. And now I would imagine that green research is going to be the bottleneck again. This has been going mostly steady, except there's a weird dip a couple minutes ago. Estimated 14 minutes left. That's a lot of minutes, honestly. Even with all of this. So we have like 0.24 green science per second. And these are going at 12 science per minute, which is, I believe, 0.24. So yeah, I think we are just going as fast as we can make green science at this point, which is fine. Not in a massive rush, ultimately. I mean, a bit of speed would be nice, but it's not strictly like the end of the world if it takes a little bit to go. These are still building up. That's almost done. This one is done. And this one, these two are almost there. So that's nice and solid. Looks like our iron plate supply is having problems again. Where are you even all going? You're all just going into gear wheels, it looks like. I mean, look at the belt before the gear wheels, look at the belt after the gear wheels. Yeah, that's a big problem. And alright, so we can improve the situation a little bit with more iron ore, and we've got plenty of miners. So we run over here, and we just gotta sort of squeeze in what we can at this point. It's not gonna line up neatly. If we do something like that, that's an additional miner. If we get a whole row in back here, that'll help out a lot, but then we're going to have to connect it up somehow, which is going to be hard. Alright, so that is all there. We have to get this over to, like, the other side of the belt, which I guess we can sneak it back here, and then a little bit more, and then attach you down like that. And at this point, we're probably At this point, we probably are just going like full Mark 1 belt mode, and we can then start thinking about upgrading to Mark 2 to get that going better. It's a long belt, though, that we would need to upgrade. It's a long belt that we would need to upgrade, and ultimately it would only like... We can only fit like 1 or 2, maybe 2.5 additional steel furnaces worth of production by speeding the belt up. So I don't even know if all that is worth the effort. It's also possible that like this improvement that we've done just here will fill up those last couple of furnaces anyways. We did go from like 1.5-ish to 2 sides of the belt. So let's see, this is 15 items per second, and it's pretty solid at this point. In fact, it's probably backed up. So yeah, this is pretty solidly 15 items per second. This is 0.62 each. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 18 times 0.62 is going to be... what, like somewhere in the 10-ish? So we should have enough at this point. Yeah, look at that. That's all going. So this is just all of the iron that we can manage. Unless we can do more belt shenanigans to get like output stuck problems, but I think this is about as much as it can take. So if we want more iron plate output, we're just gonna need a bigger factory, and that just is what it is. It's so bad though. Like, look how few is getting past here. It's minuscule. Hopefully the gear wheels will eventually just backlog or something. But they go into basically everything, so yeah, there's not much we can do to accelerate that aside from just make another furnace setup for the iron, which we might have to do. For now, though, this is probably fine-ish. This is probably about as good as we'll go. And it is still pretty solid. I mean, we do have almost full belts back here. So this is going. It's short on gear wheels because it can't pull them fast enough because the long-handed inserters are slow. And so that's really not an issue, and this is like our main thing that we wanted to get more of. Is there anything here that I just failed to set limits on and is therefore currently getting out of control? It doesn't look like there's anything just feeding thousands upon thousands of things into a box for no purpose. Like, the walls, we can yoink those, because we were getting low. We need more fast inserters and long-handled inserters, actually. So let's grab some of those and some of those, which is going to make things worse in the short term, but it is what it is. So now this is all going, and we have science limited by green science, which we simply cannot easily do anything about at the moment, unless we were to like... I mean, we have arguably enough of these, although it's kind of sketch actually with these all turned on. The actual output isn't enough. We might... The actual output isn't enough when we have the science running and both of these running, because these take 3 inserters a minute. This is only outputting 1.5. So somehow getting like a buffer chest to store up, because this, we would need to like have this input into the belt, which and then that would just balance across the two halves, and that would help. But we can't super easily do that. Okay, it looks like this is now just limited on iron plates, so it isn't even an issue to begin with, so that's fine. Everything needs iron plates, and we only have like most of a belt's worth of iron plates, which is unfortunate. All right, let's get the iron plate situation resolved better. So what I can do is I can just input iron plates further down the line. Like if I had another belt of iron plates going in there, that would help a lot. If I can get it to, if I can get the space in for it, which is gonna be hard because this area is very cramped, much spaghetti. Alright, where is like the earliest point where I could reasonably benefit from having additional iron plates that it'll actually fit? We could get it in here, but that's only past like 2 of the gear wheel productions. It is the 2 active ones though, so maybe that's fine. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, automated rail transportation is finished. Wonderful. So the next thing we need is plastics. So let's queue that up. And then we need red circuits, which is a little bit traumatizing, but that's fine. And also sulfur processing, and then we can get chemical science. And then once we have chemical science, we can do advanced material processing too. Alright. So, just confirm, if we have, like, this is never going to make it across all that. And there's no real space to get it in some sneaky way. But if we were to just have it go in like that, or even one further over would be nice to ensure the space. So you can go in like that, and then down across all of this. And if we can just get iron plates into that point, then we can refill the belt from there and be good to go. So we just need to get more iron smelting. So we have our belt of ore, which looks backlogged. And if it isn't, then we can increase it and make it go faster with tier 2 belts. So we just need to make another iron processing spot. So you can go there and literally just like loop around back this way. Do I not have any? Oh right, I did that, I forgot. Do I not have any steel furnaces currently crafted? No, I do not, so let's just craft up another 8 of them. Alright, so we need you to go something like that. Then this iron loops around like this. That's kind of horrifying, but sure. And then that lets... Oh, no, 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 no. No, absolutely not. So the good news is that stone belt doesn't actually go anywhere, so we can just chop it back. And let's reconnect that up. Alright, now, if you go in, you go across to there. And this can provide us a good solid row of iron smelting. And we just have 3 in right now. We're going to get a bunch more in a minute. Just get this set up. There we go. So those guys are running. And then we get that line going out as far as it'll go. We've got 8 furnaces, which should be enough to make a significant difference at least. I don't know if it'll completely fix the problem. It probably won't, but it'll be something. So we get all of that stuff going across, and then we get the rest of the inserters, and there we go. So then this just goes out to, I don't know, over here somewhere in case we want to expand it up more. And it can go all the way out to there, and then up, and then over, and in. So if we want to add more furnaces onto that row, we can. For now, this will probably be fine, considering we're still running all of this off of a single Mark I belt of ore anyways. But now the iron goes up, and it looks like in the time that it took me to set that up, the problem's mostly just resolved itself, just from things filling up and not demanding resources anymore. But the next time we have a big situation, it will be better, because we are obviously going to keep taking things out of this factory to keep building. Case in point, I think we want another green science production, which we can squeeze in over here. And there we go. It's gonna need those, and let's give it 2 of them just to be sure that it's actually going enough. And then you make green science. And then we get this belt in, and I'm stuck on a tree, because of course I am. Alright, now this belt goes up here, and over this way, and hello trees, thank you for always being in the way. There we go. Oh, missing underground belts. Alright, we need to resupply, and I think at this point we're probably safe to just disconnect those, and we're gonna keep using the rest of these that we have, but this will be sort of just the last wave of Mark I belts. So then this just goes into here, and we're gonna need to put some more connections between these so that this can make it all the way through the entire chain. But if we do that, now we have green science packs coming from both sides. And this should now mean we have 0.36 green science and 0.3 red science. So now the red science should be the bottleneck, and we can just sort of keep playing this game of expanding these two out. So let's get the red science going. There we go. Are these even getting enough? It looks like they are. Okay, well, you get that, and actually that isn't going to work because, well, it should work. We're just going to have to be a little bit funky about it. I think that inserter being back there has enough reach. It does. I don't think I've ever done that deliberately before. So it's good to know that that does actually work. It's not hugely helpful, but it opens up a couple options like that. In this exact situation, it's nice. So now you need to get copper plates like so, and you need to get the cogs, so like that. Now these are both working, and now we're up to 0.6 red science per second, and green science is also backlogging, which means that the current limiting factor is the science labs. So let's craft up a couple of those. And just keep on expanding this thing backwards until we have all the science in the world. So you can go in and get started immediately. So we do something like that. And the green science actually has a bit of a hard time getting over to this side because of how that all works out. Do I want... Yeah, I think I might want that to be pointing over that way, just so that we take more green science demand from over here and less from over here. Because currently we have enough green science on the belts, but we aren't running this machine because it hasn't made it back. And this is still like the main source of green science, and this is just like a side thing. Alright, let's keep expanding this upwards, and just... There we go. Just gotta get the science cooking as fast as possible. And we're gonna have another one of those that goes that way. And you can go that way as well. So we have some back and forth between the two rows. And that should help them get more evenly balanced. Alright, so science is going faster than ever. We're going to get plastics in just like 2 minutes or so. What else is there which we might want to automate? We have most of the important stuff. We haven't set up trains automation stuff yet. And we need to get oil refining, but there's like advanced oil somewhere in the tech tree. I don't know where that is. I don't know if it might be past chemical science. Is it? Yeah, so advanced oil is past chemical science, so we're still a couple steps away from that. Which means I guess we should start getting the oil setup that we have going. Let's see here. You need copper and steel. So let's yoink some of that. And can we just grab this stuff while we're here? Yes, we can make an oil refinery. And then we need electronic circuits. And make a couple of chemical plants, get all those queued up. And then we can get these placed. And, I don't know, something like that. Basic oil processing. Congratulations, you are technically making some petroleum gas. And then we can take that into a chemical plant and make solid fuel. So now that we have that, we can use it for something, I guess. So, actually, do all these take any fuel? Consumes burnable fuel. Yeah, so those could theoretically swap over to solid fuel, but we have plenty of coal, so I don't think that's a concern. Alright, sulfur processing is another prereq for chemical science, so let's get that going. So we have our solid fuel. This is likely to be somewhat useful. I used this for trains for the longest time, and it was quite helpful in my previous save. Obviously, this is not exactly the most efficient way of making it. So we're just going to have that available as an option for now. I don't even think we need to like put it in a box or anything. So if we have some huge coal crisis, we could redirect that over, but our coal supply looks pretty much perfect at the moment. Doesn't look like it's running into any issues. Like, all the machines are backlogged. Everything is going fine. Okay, that side hasn't really been attacked much at all. We actually have it... I guess we destroyed the 2 nearest spider nests. There's one a little bit further up there, which is probably going to become an issue at some point, but it isn't right now. Alright, sulfur processing research is going. Is there anything more we can do? We can put in more science labs. Gear reels, electronic circuits, transport belts. Can I just auto-craft those? Just real simple. Like that. You get a belt of input and a belt of input. And you get to make science labs. It's well, it's like lasagna or something. I don't know. It's sort of organized, kind of. This stuff over here is definitely worse than this bit over to the left. This bit over to the left is actually pretty neat. But yeah, it's... I don't know. At some point, it becomes so spaghetti that it's unworkable, and I try to avoid that. But I don't know. There's a lot of underground belts doing weird things. There's a lot of machines which I would want to expand their production lines, but I can't because of space. It's definitely more spaghetti than my normal, which is typically pretty organized. Alright. So the science is up here. That's going. We have our science lab production. So we can grab all of these. Yeah, the trees are everywhere. Just relentlessly. I still haven't automated grenades yet. I should get on that. It's kind of important, actually. Because I'm going to be pretty bad at defending myself otherwise. Oh, that place did get attacked. But it's fine. The double thick walls should last a good while. And alright, this stone is now in the way. So I guess we just like shift this over a little bit. And that's horrific, but doesn't actually break anything, I guess. Alright, so then let's just get even more of these guys in. Off we go. And then we just send all this up. And that's more science machines in, which should get that going a little bit faster. Now it looks like we have finally caught up to the point where the science input is actually the problem. Also, that belt might need to be... that inserter might need to be faster as well. Alright, so this is going, and it looks like we don't quite have the green science to keep the whole thing running, which is fine. We're like a minute away from sulfur. Alright. Repair packs don't really need to be automated because they are kind of terrible until you have drones, at which case obviously they're great. Power. Actually, how's my power going? Still doing fine somehow, so we don't need to automate those things. We have those. We need like 2 of those for an entire game. Pump jacks, we don't really need to automate. We could do steel furnaces. That could be a thing that we automate, just to save a little bit of time. Is there anywhere where the steel and the stone are close to each other? Yes, there is. Right back over here. So let's get you in. Alright, so we're going to have to split you up like that. Bring the stone across like that. And then you can make steel furnaces. And just output into a box. That spacing works out pretty nicely. And we need like 1 stack of those. So that should be okay. Alright. Oil refineries and chemical plants seem annoying to automate. Probably going to have to do them at some point. For now, let's queue up advanced circuits. We're almost at the point where we have chemical science researched. Alright, so plastic and sulfur. All this sort of stuff is, we're probably going to need it to do chemical science, so let's head down here. I can't quite remember. This is water, petroleum gas, iron plates, sulfur, and water, and coal and petroleum gas. Okay, so we're going to need probably another oil refinery or 2. And as we're going, the manual crafting takes forever. So we have another one of those. And you can get all powered up and everything and choose your one recipe that you can choose. Okay. Then we can combine the petroleum gas supply up. Then we need to bring up water, coal, and iron plates. Iron plates are just coincidentally right here. I don't even... Oh, right. That's from this little production expansion. Coal is over there, and then water is going to be right down here. So, offshore pump. Where are you? There you are. Alright, so you go there, and we can pipe the water up here. Alright, then we're going to need chemical plants for all of this, I assume. That's in a chemical plant, that's in a chemical plant, that's in a chemical plant. Ooh, what's a cryogen plant? I think that's new. So we're going to need another chemical plant to have all 3 of them, which means we need to grab some more steel, which is right up here. Alright, so that is that. And now we get to start putting some things together. So let's give some space on the input side so that we can mess around a little bit. Oh, I need to grab more pipes. Let's head up and do that. There we go. That should be enough to last us for a while. And you are going to make plastic, which means I need to get the coal over here. Alright, you can become an underground pipe so I can get through. And off we go. I'm out of belts. Alright, where are my belts? They're up here. I have fast belts, so I guess I'll disconnect that so that we stop storing those, because we don't need to. We have this going over, and under that, then you go up there. No, you need... Well, technically that works, actually. There's no real reason to use a long-handled inserter there, but it saves me from having to rewire things. So then that gets connected up to power, and this gets connected up to petroleum gas. Like that. Alright, oh, that's placed wrong. You have to be there. Alright. Then we just get you out and into a box, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'll put this stuff in boxes. Can I get another box for you? Where's that section of things? Alright, and then we get our power poles and our power poles. And I only need like a tiny amount for you guys. Alright, next up is sulfur, which is water and petroleum gas. So that can go like there, and sulfur. Alright, can I flip you like that? There we go. So the water goes in there. Petroleum gas comes around there. And then we can get a belt set up for the sulfur. And onto a random box you go, where we can store like 2 stacks of it. And then I need to get iron plates, sulfur, and water to make sulfuric acid, which I don't even know what that's for, but I can't remember what that's for in the early game. Presumably it's something important since I've unlocked it. I might as well. So we can grab these iron plates, bring them over, and then we have all these things together. I have another chemical plant, which goes just somewhere like here, maybe? Alright, so that goes there. You make sulfuric acid. We need to get the water into there. We need to get that whole thing powered up. And then we need short input, long input. Alright, sulfuric acid, check. I don't have boxes for fluids. I need more iron plates to make a storage tank. There we go, make one of those. And yeah, I mean, you can just go there. That is sort of ridiculous spacing. We could have easily avoided doing it that way, but it's fine. Alright, so you are out of petroleum. And yeah, so this whole thing is probably just going to need a bunch more of these to keep everything running. So we need iron and copper. Is that just electronic circuits? It's mostly just electronic circuits. So I can stand here, grab iron and copper, and craft up 2 more of those. And the goal is to have enough backlogs of everything that once we get to the point where we are making chemical science, we can go pretty quickly by just pulling from reserves instead of having to be making everything from scratch at that exact moment. So there we go. That's a 3rd one set up. We have this potentially the space to get a 4th one in here if we take that power line out, which turned out to be unnecessary anyways. Alright, so now this is all set up. And we are now making all of these things as fast as they'll go. Alright, advanced circuits done. And chemical science. Alright, we are now researching chemical science. And time to start making advanced circuits, which is plastic, copper cable, and electronic circuits. Alright, so unsurprisingly, I'm going to have to bring this up here. The cable is there, the electronic circuits are along that whole thing. Can I get them out somehow and just bring them down here? I guess I can do like that. And then no, this actually has to curve this way to get past that belt. Alright, electronic circuits are now on their way down here. Plastic is there, and copper cable can just come over this way. And then we just need to put a machine in. Where are those? right here. Grab another 50 of those. Alright, so now this can go that way and that way. And then this plastic is gonna have to do a bit of a curve around and go up that way. And there we go. I need more inserters. Where are you? Is there anything else I'm low on? I'm not doing great on belts at the moment. Might as well yoink another 100 of them. There we go. That should last us a little bit at least. Alright. So that's powered up. And you get inserter, 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 and then an output. There we go. So that is the possibly like the #1 most traumatizing part of the entire gameplay, is constantly being low on red circuits. So let's just, I don't know, set that to like 3. So hopefully we can just like focus on red circuits early and not have that be a constant problem, but like it's going to be a constant problem. These things are awful to make. Let's actually just add another couple machines, because I know we're going to need a bunch of them. I don't want that. Actually, that's fine technically, because we're not using the other side of that belt for anything. Sure, that's fine. This is all fine. So that gets powered up. That goes the rest of the way down. Ooh. That's blue science done, which is lovely. So then we need to craft that. In the meantime, let's get batteries going. So you and you get those. And then we have our outputs, which are going to go out to here, which then needs to just expand out a little bit more and go into a box down there. Then we get all that powered on, and that's that. So, chemical science is sulfur, advanced circuits, and engine units. I have not done engine units yet, so that is going to be a thing. I do have the sulfur, I do have the advanced circuits technically, although whatever they were grabbing off of this belt is not making it. Alright, so these guys need faster inserters to go at full capacity. So let's give them those. And then we just have a lot of insane demands of a lot of things. So just sort of everything is going to be a bit slow right now. Yeah, the numbers of wires that are making it past the green circuit production is not very high. And it'll be even worse once we make these able to take the iron plates that they need to be able to take. Alright, so that's going. Can we increase this just like at all? I think I can squeeze. I mean, I can squeeze one more in here maybe? Somehow? There's got to be some way. Maybe like this, and then we go. You can pull in from there, and then you can output to there. And this isn't even going to be full speed because it's only the long-handled inserters, but that's like the best we can do, basically. We do have like most of a full half belt there, which is something at least. So it's actually going to be a little bit tricky to make it any better. But the green circuits are backlogging. That's the good news. Whatever was draining them is now mostly fine. And that should get the wire through to here, which will then start draining more green circuits, so that's probably just going to be a cyclical problem. Alright, in the meantime, engine units. Engine units are steel plates, gear wheels, and pipes. Alright, steel plates are here. Pipes are there. Gear wheels are there, so this should be in this sort of general area. Move it a bit over this way so that the gear wheels can make it up, no problem. So you go up to there and then across. You go across to there. Steel plates, check. Gear wheels, check. And then we just have to bring the pipes out through this and get rid of that tree so I can see what I'm doing. Get rid of that tree so I can see what I'm doing. I guess that's fine. I'm not going to be too stingy about my underground belts at the moment. So that is good. And outputs there. Engine units, check. And powered on. Alright, so you're going and making engine units. So we need to get the science stuff up here anyways. And the engine units are also up there. So I think we take the red circuits and the sulfur. Alright, getting the sulfur out of here is a little weird. We're going to have to do that, I think. We might actually be able to use underground belts to manage it, but this should also work in the quantities we're dealing with. Alright, so the sulfur goes up. And then we can just have... Let's see, we need to have this output onto this belt, but use both sides, just for convenience. So you can actually just output to, like, a belt there, which then runs into that. There we go, that should work. Now we take this belt up, and up to the main factory, where we can start making our science. Trees go out of the way. Alright, so now that's all three things, right? Yep. Alright, that belt being there is going to be a problem in the near future, but that's what spaghetti is for, causing problems in the near future so that you don't have them now. Alright, so that goes there. This all goes in, and then gets powered up to make chemical science. And we're going to need a couple of these in order to produce this at any reasonable rate. And then we're just going to be waiting on the inputs of probably the red circuits are going to be the biggest limiting factor, which we can obviously work to improve. Does this belt go underground here? Stupid trees. Get out of the way. Yeah, we don't want that. We want you to just keep going forwards. And then we copy paste all that up and put the power in. Alright, so now we have this. We get a power pole and a power pole. And that's blue science production. This might actually be the limiting factor. Yeah, so this is going to be able to run like 1.1 of these. So we're going to need a lot more engine units. But for now... Oh, no, not like that. You got too close there. Alright, so we can just chop those two off there. They don't need to go any higher. We finished batteries. Next up, let's just... That's going to take 250. Yeah, that's going to take forever. Let's just queue up something normal. How about solar energy? That could be fun in the short term. We might end up doing a solar powered build this time, because last time we went pretty hard into nuclear and it worked very well. But so let's think about trying out solar power this time. Alright, so this can then go down onto that side of the belt. And that shouldn't cause any problems with the rest of it. So the machines should just fill up with blue science that it's not using at the moment. And that'll be all the way down there. And then once we actually queue up a recipe that needs blue science, then that will all get started. Okay. So if we want more of this, it's this belt plus that belt. So we actually kind of, yeah, we need to bring more production of this just across to there and get like 3 of those. Then we run these belts across and start putting them in. So you get those, get the long-handled inserters, and then you get inserters from this. Alright, all of you get powered up. We want you working as soon as possible. There we go. And then the outputs are going to go... okay, this is incredibly scuffed, but if we do like this, and then a long-handled inserter to jump it over that belt. Underground belt doesn't work there, but the numbers are small enough that a long-handled inserter should. And then those all go out to there, and that needs an extra little belt. Alright. So that is now going, and these are all working. And that should be getting the blue science going through at a decent enough rate. So these produce slightly more engines per second than these use. So we've got 4 and 4, which means engines are no longer the problem, assuming that none of these inputs have any problems, which they all look fine. And then, let's see, sulfur, clearly not an issue. We've got a solid backlog of that. So the problem now remains the red circuits. We have 0.36 theoretical production, which isn't quite being reached. How much does this need? 0.18, 0.2, so that should be 0.36 production there. This is outputting 0.36, which means that if we can just get this to actually go at the speed that it says it is, then it'll be fully functional, and that requires more wire. Alright, and the wire needs more copper, and the copper needs more ore. So that is, I mean, step 1 of that fix is pretty easy. Just slap in a couple of you guys, and add in a second row. Okay, that was apparently the linchpin holding this entire thing together. How is that connecting the power across? Supernova, hello. Nice to see you. We are doing some Factorio, just trying to fix all the classic problems, you know, not enough copper, and then too much copper ore and not enough smelting, and then trying to get to a point where we're producing a decent amount of chemical science, which requires a couple additional steps. Let's take that one out and put it there, so we can have more ore on this belt. Okay, a turret ran out of ammo. That's not ideal. I don't have these set up to be automatically loading, so we just need to manual refill whenever something like that happens, and the notification disappeared real quick, which I don't love. Okay, apparently they got into these at some point when I wasn't paying attention. I didn't think those were destroyed. I know they were damaged. I did not think they were destroyed. Let's just repair up the miners here. These aren't really being used much, so it's like probably fine. It's probably, I mean, the stone output is clearly not suffering for lacking them. Alright, are the rest of these also running low? Low-ish. Alright. So, oh, don't throw a grenade. So you all get some additional ammo, and that should last a decent chunk of time. Gosh, not having drones to auto-repair the walls is a little bit stressful. Like, these walls are taking a bit of damage, especially around here, actually. I wonder if we need to worry about that. Because if they're going around there, that means they might be trying to flank, which is a bit scary. But hopefully it's nothing. Alright, blue science is starting to pile up. So once this solar energy research is finished, we're gonna let that research finish. And then we're going to throw the blue science in and get that going. So now actually, yeah, we're short on green science again, which should be able to expand pretty easily. Let me guess, that is a critical power line. There we go. So we can just add a couple more of these guys in, and those go into that. This belt goes across, and you get some of those and some of those. Then you all get powered up, and that should improve the green science production. We might be reaching a point where actual inserter production becomes an issue. It looks like it's doing mostly fine at the moment, but it is, I mean, it is backed up onto the belt. Like, there's gap here, which isn't the greatest sign in the world, I guess. Okay, you aren't getting enough green circuits. Can you, first of all, just speed that up, but then the actual problem is that the other green circuit output is past that point. So actually, if I just move your inserter to be over there, that should do it. Because now it can pull from both green circuit production. There we go. So that's all going fine. Solar energy is remaining time of 10 minutes currently because the oh, actually red is now missing. Whatever happened to the red circuit science? No copper plates. Alright. I thought I had fixed that, but looks like the ore shortage wasn't the only shortage. We just need to expand this a bit. Alright, I automated furnaces somewhere, right? Up here. There we go. Give me some of those. And time to start placing a bunch of these guys. Alright, that should be enough, probably. Have to get rid of a rock. And we're going to need more belts. Where are the belts? Gosh, what I would give for a drone system so I don't have to constantly manually resupply. Just being able to just never run out of any of your resources is so incredibly fun. Alright, so that belt goes along there. Then we just set up the inserters. you don't need that. That would break things. Then we get the output inserters, or outserters as I sometimes call them. And then we get the fuel. Like that. And apparently need to scooch over a little bit for that last one. And then we get those. And that is substantially more copper plate production. Blue and green are on the same belt. They're on the two halves of the belt, right? Oh, I see. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so previously I had it so that green science was on the bottom half of the belt and blue science was on the top half of the belt. Then when I added this expansion, I didn't make sure that it added to the same half of the belt, so I just need to get that right. So, hang on. So we need this to get over to there, basically. Just onto the other side of the belt. Yeah, so let's actually just force that over here. And I think we can do this just... It's like that. And then... Wait, no, actually... This is slightly... I believe doing it with the inserter like that just is a little bit nicer looking. I don't know why it looks better, but it does to me. So now this... Wait, no, we messed it up again. It seems like there should be an easier way of doing this. There, like that. That does the trick. There, so that forces them onto the bottom half. The belt with the blue and green extend one belt to the left, so they get forced on the bottom. Let's see, is that... Extend one belt to the left. I'm trying to figure out if that's just what I did or some fancy thing behind the splitter. Oh, I see. Yeah, that would work too. That would also work and be a lot easier. This whole setup is pointless. We could just do that. Yeah, the weird little details like that of getting things on the right halves of belts, I only did a tiny amount in my first playthrough, and I'm not very good at them still. So we're still learning on that. So that works. Then this is going, and red science is going again. Yeah, it's really fun. There's like a lot of stuff you can do, like just minor things like this that you can get good at, or you can just sort of try to avoid by just not doing things like this where you have two things on the same belt, where like you don't have to get good at them, but if you can, it's quite helpful. Stuff like that is very cool. Alright, so blue science is going just fine. The engines are starting to backlog, which is good. Green science is backlogging. Red science is still the limiting factor. I think that's just because it hasn't caught up yet. So this is 0.6 red science per second. This is actually 0.6 green science per second. So red and green are perfectly balanced. And then blue is behind, but has a bit of a stockpile, so it has a bit of a lead. Alright. Should be good. Solar energy, done researching. So now we can find our advanced material processing and start getting coal out of all of our production lines, because we can use electric furnaces for stuff. So that is that. And hopefully that just goes pretty fast. What else is there to do while we wait? I don't think we need solar panels at the moment. How's our power situation going? Oh, power situation is bad. Okay. That's fun. So we need to grab some gear wheels to make more steam engines. I really should have made a box for the gear wheels. I guess I can just grab plates and just have that as part of the crafting step, but it makes the crafting take a little longer. Alright, so what are we looking at? We have 3 of those. So let's go up to 6 of those. And then just queue up a couple more of that stuff, and then we can go down to the power line. And we need to expand this out a little bit more. I guess we can just bring it over to the other side of this, and that will be easier. So you go like that, and just face down, so you're not going to be in the... Actually, no, then you're going to be in the way of the coal. Yeah, actually, no, we can make this work. So you go like that. You go across like that, and you all get your fuel. Then we have these, which we place in here to each. Okay, wait, no, we need... Actually, can we get power into these from the sides? We can get that one, and we should be able to actually do it like this, I think. I think this should work. Because we should be able to just barely reach these with power poles. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Get you in the middle. Then we drop down here, get you guys. Now you're all set up, except for the water pipe, which we need to be careful not to accidentally ruin our oil pipe. So that goes across and up. And power. Alright, now we're producing up to 19.8 megawatts. And down to that, we're once again doing good. Once again, ahead on our power situation. As long as nothing bad happens with our coal supply, we should be able to just keep expanding that. Okay, red circuits are now going around the clock, which is nice, because that means that we'll have just exactly enough to make the blue science, which isn't really ideal. I'd like to have some spare. So let's see. If I take that out, does that break anything? A little bit. A little bit, but it's fine. So we can put you in, and I need more inserters. Grab some of you. I'm down to 8 of the long-handled ones, so I'll grab some of them while I'm at it. Then we need you and you. Wait, actually no, you need to be the long-handled one, because otherwise we're going to have all sorts of crazy belt problems. And then you need to grab from this belt. And then you need to get all powered up. And you need to output to there, where it then goes under. Alright, now we have slightly more red circuit production than we're using, which means we might get the tiniest little backlog over a very long period of time. But realistically, we're just going to use red circuits for something in like 5 minutes, and then we'll be desperate for more again. You can never have enough red circuits. You always need more of them. Alright, so the engines are fine. Sulfur is fine. Red circuits are more or less going. Blue science is not currently... Actually, we don't really currently have much of an issue. I think we can fit in more science buildings to get this going faster. So let's grab 10 of those. And what is going on with this whole situation is kind of a mess in terms of how I've laid these out. So I'm going to try to add a third row on, and it's probably going to go pretty poorly. But might as well give it an effort. So you are going to go up like this. And then we send all of those across from that row, and then they can also go up within the row, and then we just power all these guys on. And there we go. So that should be more science usage. Right, there was a lab speed upgrade, which I could have researched like ages ago, but decided not to. And that would be a little helpful for saving space right now. But this looks like it's going fine. ETA of a minute. All is good to see. Minute and a half or so. Alright, green circuits look like they're continuing to be a bit of an issue. Wire has fallen behind with that extra stuff. Alright, so in that case, we need you. So instead of outputting to there, you can output to there and just go on the other side of the belt. And that will be marginally better. It's like very, very slightly more wire going on that belt than otherwise would be. Alright, so this is all good to go. We really need to just upgrade our belt speeds at some point. Like, we have all of these tier 2 belts prepared and sitting in boxes, and I just haven't bothered to figure out where I need to put them. Alright, advanced material processing 2 done. Electric furnaces are now available, and lasers to unlock laser turrets would be fun, although that would require military science, which I still haven't done. You could go advanced oil processing. Now, I think just rushing lasers is probably for the best. And then once we have lasers and we can set up actually like half decent defenses around, then I think our next step is going to be drones, and then once we have drones, we can just try to massively rework this entire thing. Alright, what's going on? That area up there is getting hit. You're fine, right? You've all got ammo. See, nothing past the walls actually got damaged, although some of these walls are getting worn down a bit. Do I have repair packs? There, you were in the red, you guys are in the yellow. I don't know. I'm not a repair drone. I can't be bothered to do much more than that. Just try to keep them from breaking any walls. Alright, now we are back to the point where blue science is the limiting factor. And it's very hard to improve that, so I think we're just going to be patient and just let the blue science roll in over time. We'll get there eventually. It's as long as it's producing, which it is. That's all good. Alright, what do I have here that I haven't automated? Electric furnaces is the big one, but it requires advanced circuits, because of course it does. And then there's the whole solar panel setup thing, which I could be doing with copper plates, steel plates, and electronic circuits. I think the capacitors are like really annoying though, right? If we just look at you, you require batteries, and batteries require sulfuric acid. So yeah, setting up a solar power system is going to be a bit of work. And our power situation is currently totally fine. We're not short on coal to keep expanding it. So I think that's going to be sidelined. We will need it once we get to the point of having drones, though, because oh boy, do drones take a lot of power. So we're going to want to have a good solar panel system by the time that comes around. So I guess we can start, right? Copper plates, steel plates, electronic circuits. Circuits are there. Copper plates are all the way back here. Okay, no, the copper plates go up there, which is relatively accessible. Steel plates are in there. Steel plates, electronic circuits are side by side over there, so we just have to get the copper plates over to them. Alright, you can, like, go up there, and then over this way, and then through that whole forest, and can I get rid of these stupid trees? Having drones to be able to just mass deconstruct all the trees in the area is yet another wonderful thing that I cannot wait to have drones for. Alright, so this goes down to here. And, okay, this didn't quite get connected across. So we can't just put the copper plates onto this belt, but we can do a little bit of... Why did that place 2? I only meant to place 1. Filter. Copper plates. And, no. You filter copper plates. Alright, so now we have only copper plates going through there, and the gear wheels won't, and oh, I'm moving on a belt. So now we can send the copper plates on the other side of that, and then we can go over here, and solar panels are copper plates, steel plates, electronic circuits. We've got all of those. So these can just go in like that. I think I probably want a lot of solar panel production, because once I start doing it, I'm going to be expanding a lot of solar panels in a short amount of time to keep up with like the whole drone power that we're going to need. So just having 3 machines of this off the gate is probably going to cause absolute chaos in other things, but we'll figure that out in a minute. So this all gets powered up. Just put some power lines in, and then they can all just go into a shared box. And that is that. It looks like they're going, and it looks like they have fast enough inserters to keep up. Alright, lasers are done. So in order to actually get a laser turret, I need military science, which means I need to research military science. So let's do that. And, oh, that's going fast. That's going real fast. Perks of having backlogs of the different types of science, I guess. What does that even use? Military science is piercing rounds, grenades, and walls. I haven't even crafted 2 of those, so we need... Well, no, I have grenades over all the way to the right side of the factory, and walls are over there too. So I'm just going to need to make piercing rounds for that. So in the meantime, we can queue up advanced oil processing. And wait, actually, accumulators should probably go first, because those are going to be easier because they're not relying on the blue science, which we can just let pile up again. Alright, but I think I'm going to call it there for today. I usually stream from 2 to 5 Eastern time, so this is about when it's time to stop, and we're at a decent enough stopping point. We've done a good amount of research. Everything that we're building is currently built, and we're going to have to fix up our green circuits productions, but We are always going to have to fix our green circuit production, so that will be a job for next time. So, thanks everyone for hanging out. Thank you for following if you've already done so, and if you haven't already, then it would mean a lot. So I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time. I am playing 2 factory building games at the moment. I'm playing Satisfactory and Factorio. And so tomorrow will be Satisfactory, and then I'm pretty sure, I'm just going to confirm this now. I'm going to be switching the days around. So Factorio is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Satisfactory is Tuesday and Thursday. So if you're used to the days when I'm normally streaming things, it'll be reversed. So, I don't know. I'm just enjoying more Factorio, so I want to do 3 days of that a week. So make sure to stop by next time when I'm live. I will see you guys then.